guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled I Don't Work Here But Now You Get to Come to My Work. I'm a correctional officer and work nights. After work I normally just go home and sleep to get ready for my next 12-hour shift. However, on my days off I take the time to do chores and housework. On this day I did not have the night off, so I had to get what I could done before going to bed. So I went home and picked up my wife and kiddos to go grocery shopping. We get to the store and start doing the usual. A lady comes up to me and my family and starts asking for directions to items. Some I know and some I don't, so I tell her where the things I know and apologize for the things I don't. Now mind you, I'm in full uniform. Taser cross-draw, cuffs on each hip, fogger on left thigh, spray and all the other items I use at work. On top of all that I smell of peppers, sweat, mold and rust as the facility I work at is old and moist. She seems upset but walks away. We continue shopping and after a while we meet up with the lady and she spots us and comes down, but this time she's pissed. She starts screaming that I'm the worst employee ever and I should be fired for not helping. She continues on about how I should be catching shoplifters or back watching the cameras instead of flirting with this **E. Yay, she's one of those. I interrupt her rant and saw the usual words of, I do not work here. She of course fails to hear them as is the usual on this sub and continues her rant. Yelling and screaming that she picked me to help her because I'm the asset protection and should know where everything is. I ask my wife to take the kids and find a manager for this Karen. Lady, from now known as Karen, is none too pleased to hear her secret identity outed and increases her volume. I try to explain to Karen that I am a jailer, not loss prevention at a grocery store. I tell her to go pound sand and find someone that actually works here. I then turn my back and start to walk away when I'm nailed in the back of the head and fall forward in a full face plant. I'm hurting, dated and can feel glass all around me. I roll onto my back and feel around. It's pasta sauce. This CN just brained me with pasta sauce. She's still yelling and screaming and raises another jar to throw. I grab my taser. Aim and pop. Down she goes. Hard I get up, stumble over, flip her around, and cuff her. She's out like a light. My guess is the fall. I then sit back down and take an inventory of myself. I'm bleeding pretty bad from my head but seem to be alright. My wife, customers and management shows up as I'm checking over Karen. I pulled my trauma kit off the back of my belt to get to the smelling salts. I tell them to call 911 and continue checking on Karen. She's awake, dazed and blissfully quiet. The rest goes as expected. The police arrive, question me, question her, watch the cameras, and I refuse medical treatment but do press charges. As my wife is a boss-ass idiot, I say that with reverence. She's medical trained and will take good care of me. I go home. She asked if I wanted staples or glue. I chose glue. She glues my head and we take a shower. Go to sleep and she wakes me up from time to time, which I know isn't the best idea, but hey, a few days later I'm writing this so I ended up alright. I get a call a couple hours before my shift ordering me to come in early to talk to rank. Dreading this, I follow my orders and get up, shaved, showered and dressed. I go in and have to explain the whole thing again and again. Then they show me the video from the store. It's exactly as I explained. Though I did note she could throw far better than I could have dreamed. They order me not to wear my uniform outside of work and tell me I'll be working in booking tonight. I'm not very good at booking but look forward to the training and activity of it, as the rest of the facility is slow and boring. Around 11 p.m. rolls around and who do I see being escorted into booking but Karen. I start to talk but my sergeant taps me and shushes me. He talks to the deputy bringing her in and they start doing the paperwork while I watch and try to learn as much as possible. She's charged with aggravated assault of a law enforcement officer and possession of meth. Who would have thought? Now Karen gets to live at my workplace. I don't get to work in the female zones, but the booking process was fun, though I wasn't allowed to do anything but watch. After she's booked, I'm told to report to another zone and end up finishing the night. Now for the past few days pasta jokes have been in abundance and her nickname is Pasta Lady. Her court date isn't for a while and she's reportedly not getting along with other inmates and is in detox shoe. The next story is titled I Cannot Escort Your Kid. My ex-wife was a school teacher. As such, I always volunteered to help around the school and help her and other teachers with some of the things they needed help with, like artistic bulletin boards and such. One day I took her to school and the staff had a meeting. I was working on replacing the artwork in the bulletin board near the front to match the current seasons and events before I go to work. I had my visitor badge on and everything. In come this crazy lady, CL, with her child. She walks up to me and says, "Here, please take him to the cafeteria, I am in a hurry." For context, you should know that in my country, unless it is your job, you can get into a lot of trouble if I agreed. I told her, "Lady, I don't work here, you will have to take him in yourself," while pointing to my visitor badge, which she 100% ignored. She proceeded to say, "You will take my child and escort him because I pay your salary." I smiled and politely said again, "I don't work here and no you don't." I turned to continue working on the board and she grabbed me to turn me around, and my visitor badge hit her square in the eye. She screamed and yelled and accused me of assaulting her. At the noise, the staff who just finished their meeting came out and my ex-wife and principal came toward us to know what happened. At this point, the Karen was already on the phone with the police and accusing me of assaulting her. I explained the situation to my ex and the principal and asked them to prepare the camera footage for the police when they arrive. The Karen is now screaming at the principal demanding I get fired. The principal keeps explaining I don't work here and that I am a volunteer who is married to one of their teachers, but she won't have it. The police arrive and take our statements. The staff show them the video and it was clearly her fault. They ask me if I want to press charges and I say yes. She was taken away in handcuffs, kicking and screaming. She hit the officers in the process, which added to her charges. She ended up with 6 months in prison and 500 hours of community service. The next story is titled Karen and His Kids Decide My Land is Theirs Whenever They Want. The nice weather is in and the Karens are coming out. So my house sits in a big plot of land. It's 900 meters wide and stretches back 1,200 meters long back into a forested area. I have the front of my property fenced off with a large gate to the main driveway and a smaller wood and wire farm-style fence stretching down the width of my property that faces the road. The width has a similar small fence until it hits the forested area. Most of the forest is sugar maple that I take full advantage of and harvest maple sugar. And in my backyard I have several game traps set up, mostly for rabbits, a large dog-out area for a vegetable garden. Well, today I was playing some games and I hear shouting and screaming coming from my backyard. Also, I want to note I have no trespassing signs posted all over my property all around the border. Well, I go outside and see what's going on, and sure enough there's 3 kids in my backyard taking shots with a slingshot on cams propped up against my large shed near my garden. Well, I go out and tell them it's time to go, it's private property, that they are going to damage my shed and it's really a bad place to play. There is a park not too far from my house. About an hour later I get a knock at the door from their father. That man had nothing nice to say. I had no right to tell his kids to leave, that it's all public land, if they can access it they can use it. Again, I have a fence around my property with no trespassing signs. Also at my front gate I have an intercom. This guy jumped my fence instead of using the intercom to bitch me out. I know because on my camera I can clearly see his car parked. The guy had been standing there yelling for several minutes. I only opened my main wood door a little to see him, so there was a glass door separating us. I told the guy to leave, that he and his goblins were very lucky that my dog was not out, he is a guard dog. The guy just told me to shut my bitch face up, that I am a liar boss, that he and his kids will use the property anytime I want. So I just decided to show him why it's a bad idea to come on my property. I open my big wooden door so he can see my 160 pounds King Shepherd ex Maremma sitting there growling, looking super pissed off. Well, he decided to leave, call me a bitch and flip me off. But I don't think he will come back anytime soon. The next story is titled I Should Have Cut Her Hair. Before lockdown, I went to the salon to get my hair done. After the cut, the stylist had to leave and go to the bathroom. While she was in there, I got up, and was checking out my new do in the mirror and thinking about what more I might ask for. I turned around, and Karen was sitting in the chair, and before I could say anything, she gave me her style request. Don't remember what it was, other than it wasn't the stereotypical Karen cut. I said, sorry, I don't work here, I'm just waiting for the stylist to finish me up, and the front desk employee came back and told Karen that not only did she need an appointment, she couldn't just walk in and sit down in one of the stations. Karen's response was to say, my station was open, and the stylist, me, was just primping herself in the mirror, so she must be free to do her hair. The employee said, "She doesn't work here, you need to check in at the front desk." Karen said, "Pshaw, she's wearing the apron of the company. She works here and should be doing her job rather than prettying herself in the mirror." I was wearing an apron with the company name on it. It's the one all clients wear to protect their clothing. While Karen was arguing with the front desk employee, my stylist was done, came out, and began asking me, "Is it okay, or do you need changes?" Karen told her to shut up and wait her turn. I said everything was good and walked up to pay, Karen yelling at me the whole time to come back and do her hair. She was still yelling as I paid and walked out, but not before I saw Karen sit down for a cut, and have the apron put on her, to which I showed it out. She's wearing the apron, must be an employee. I should have cut her hair. Arts and crafts were always my worst activity at summer camp. It might have looked interesting. The stylist told me next time I went in that Karen told her that she hopes her coworker, me, was going to lose her job for her behavior, and no matter how many times she was told I was just a customer, Karen didn't believe her. The next story is titled "Got Fired from a Place I Was Never Employed At." So I work at a place where the uniform is a stunningly fashionable red polo with black trim. This occurred at a store where they wear the slimming black with lime green trim. I'm on my way home from work one winter day and decide to stop by the grocery store. As it is winter, I am wearing my winter jacket, which is a very vibrant purple, and because it is kind of warm out, it's unzipped to reveal my work shirt. I also have my headphones in, a headband on, and a bright blue shoulder bag. AKA, clearly a customer. So I'm kneeling down in front of some drinks, pondering which I want to buy when this woman starts getting up in my business. I shuffle over thinking maybe she wants to look at the drinks as well, and start putting a couple in my basket. Then I hear the dreaded, "Excuse me." I glance around, hoping she's going at someone else, but to no avail. I look up, pulling out one earbud and say, "Sorry, am I in your way?" Because my parents raised me to be polite. "Where's the coconut oil?" I just blink and shrug, "I dunno, sorry." "Over there maybe?" And I point over toward the baking aisle. "What do you mean you don't know? Are you that incompetent at your job?" Well, now I'm pissed. I clearly don't work there, and for the record, I'm very competent at my job. My job, not at this grocery store. "Lady, I don't work here, go find someone else. You're wearing a uniform, you have to help me. For a store down the street, not here. I don't have to help you with anything, now leave me alone," and I start to walk off, but she screams at me as I'm leaving. "I'm going to report you to your manager." To which my mature ass tells her, "Go for it." Now I finish up my shopping and am using the self-checkouts because between work and this Karen I've had more social interaction than my introverted ass can handle when I hear, "There she is. That's her." I look around to see who's screaming, and lo and behold, there's Karen, and she's dragging this poor sap along with her over to me. She wouldn't help me. I want her fired. "Ma'am. She doesn't work here." "I don't care. I want her fired anyway. She's useless and rude." "Ma'am, she doesn't work here. She works somewhere else. I literally don't have the authority to fire her." "Are you telling me you're not going to fire her, even though she was rude?" At this point, me and Buddy make eye contact, and a moment of understanding passes as it does between fellow retail staff, and I give him a small nod and he signs. "Very well. Miss, I'm afraid it's just not working out. I'm going to have to let you go." I just nod solemnly, "I understand, I'll be going now then." And I gather up my groceries and go to leave, and Karen just has the biggest shit-eating grin on her face. And that is the story of how I got fired from a store I never worked at a single day in my life. The next story is titled "I'm the Delivery Guy, Not a Porch Pirate." My husband and I both work for Amazon Flex, which has freelance drivers deliver packages to different areas that are a little off the beaten path. This way everyone, even those who live in tiny forgotten towns that are surrounded by cornfields, will get their packages in a timely manner. Today, my husband, who I'll refer to as husband, was doing a block in such an area. It's early in the day and the car is full of packages when he entered small town. It was the kind of place that had a post office, a gas station, an old mill, and a sheriff. It's the place where everyone knows everyone because they're all related by blood or marriage. So when husband starts making stops at houses in town in an unfamiliar car, everyone noticed. Husband doesn't even realize that he's being watched, it's just another stop on his delivery route. Then he goes to drop a package at a house at the end of a dead-end road. He does the drop at the door, sends the notice to the customer that the package has been delivered, and gets back in the car to go to the next stop. Except, the road is now being blocked by a sheriff's car. Husband stops and sheriff approaches him, telling him that he had received some calls about him. A suspicious man that was going from house to house and had packages in his vehicle. Husband gives him his ID, and tells him, "I work for Amazon. I just delivered a package to that house back there. These other packages are for other customers." Sheriff takes a look at husband's ID, then his phone to take a look at the app. Then sheriff looks at his own phone before going to the house husband just left to see if the package was there. Sheriff then looks past husband and sees someone watching them. Husband described the look sheriff gave the person as a mix of course, and, "Are you $%% with me?" Sheriff then tells husband that he had been accused of being a porch pirate before stomping past husband to scream at the person watching them. Sheriff apparently not only knew the person who called to report husband as a porch pirate, but the delivery husband had just done was to the sheriff at his house. Sheriff went off on the nosy neighbor about, "Don't they have anything better to do? Wasting police time, and how?" Yes, he was sure that husband was telling the truth since he had received the delivery notice on his phone and the package was on his porch. Sheriff came back to husband, thanked him for his time, and sent him on his way. Husband was annoyed that he was held up for over 20 minutes, but I think this story was worth it. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.